Well, it is mid-July and 2 weeks since the last update. Thought I'd do another one. The garden is unrecognizable from where it was 2 weeks ago. We've got some girofle. These are night-scented girofle. They're the first of the annuals to bloom. There's another one here, another annual, which I'm not sure the name of. I'll try to find it. Then this is a butternut squash that is vining quite well. I think there's 3 main vines coming out of it, so I'm going to have to direct traffic on all this squash. So I think I'll be using some of the lawn space. Actually, over in the distance there, you can see one that I tore out that was over in that corner, only because one of the things I've learned is that a little chaos is good. There is a point though where you just make your garden very prone to diseases, so trying to keep the chaos to a minimum. It's tough when you're trying to maximize your yields with the space you have, but I think I've got a plan. These are some butterfly annuals, and I believe some weeds have joined in, but when a weed has a beautiful yellow flower like that, it's fine. And this is, I don't know what that is, but as you can maybe see, the pollinators like it too, so I'm not objectionable to weeds when they add a little value. Here is the Jamaican squash, which is probably more aggressively growing than the butternut right now. So I'm going to be looking at a lot of squash and sacrificing one plant. It didn't hurt too bad. Here you can see the cantaloupe. There are 3 cantaloupe plants down there. They're slow growers. And I do want to give them their own little space. So as you can see, I've got it planned out that they'll grow into this, and then we'll hopefully get a decent harvest. I've never been able to harvest cantaloupe, or for that matter, watermelon. There's some watermelon, and I can actually see some baby female flowers starting to bud. I'll show you one. Down there, you see that little tiny watermelon, and at the end of it is a little flower that's going to bud. That is a future watermelon in the works, hopefully. This pile here is just manure that's going to be moved, and I think next week when I harvest the garlic, and I'm going to be putting in some brassicas. So I want some fall brassicas, and I do want to rejuvenate the bed a little bit with some compost. The sweet potatoes are doing good. I think this is a little flea beetle pressure, but nothing too bad. I'm not too concerned about it. There again, I think I'm going to be moving the vines. As you can see, this is a vine here. I'm going to be moving it this way. I'm taking over lawn space. Little chaos is good. I'm borderline a lot of chaos. Here's a acorn squash that has 3 main vines growing out of it. No flowers yet. These are all male flowers. Don't see any females yet. And there is a vine. Right down there used to be that one that he yanked out, the butternut that he yanked out. It was just getting too big and taking over my peppers. And I don't know if you can see the peppers. These are supposed to be bell peppers. So they kind of look more like I don't know what you call that, Hungarian. But any pepper's good pepper, right? These are my Scotch bonnets growing in the straw bale. And this is another bell pepper, apparently. This is a pink brandy wine. I got the seeds from my brother-in-law. It's doing quite well. I don't see too many fruit forming yet, but hopefully soon. I've got 3 Rosella purple dwarf tomatoes growing, and as you can see, there's some tomatoes forming, which I'm very excited about. The pollinator doing me a favor. Thank you very much. They get to about 5 feet high, max 4 to 5 feet high. This is an Italian tomato. Got the seeds from a friend of mine who lives next to some Italian immigrants who brought seeds with them, and they had been growing the seeds in Italy for generations. So looking forward to what this is going to yield. They didn't really know a name, but I've done some research based on the fruit that you can see here in that pear-shaped flute. I've shortlisted a few, one of which is called Granny's Throwing Tomato. Abruzia, I think, is the official sort of name, but it has an affectionate name. This is a cherry tomato, and I think in a couple weeks I'll be getting my first little harvest, which is awfully exciting. This is a zucchini, and this is a female flower. However, I don't see any male flowers to pollinate it, so I don't know if that's going to turn into a zucchini. I'm not too worried, because zucchinis, when you grow zucchinis, you tend to have far too many for your community. They're very prolific. Moving to my garlic leeks and onions. The leeks are doing well. I just planted some basil yesterday, so obviously nothing coming up. Some volunteer dill is doing okay. I had to thin it out because it was taking over. The onions avoided the leek moth damage so far. I see a little brownie at the tips, which I'm not overly concerned about, but last year it was bad. The tips started to rot, and it really kicked the crap out of the onions. So far, I'm not too concerned. I've got some afterthought peppers here that seem to be doing okay, and behind that dill are afterthought celery plants that I put in. I had a bit of space, I figured I may as well utilize it without trying to be too chaotic. Trimmed back the garlic from the leek moth damage, and it survived without rotting, which was pretty happy about that. And next week I'll be harvesting this. Been harvesting a little bit all along, and it's doing quite well. Here in the raised bed, take the lid off. I've got 4 broccoli plants, which I harvested the main heads weeks ago, and since then it's putting out little broccolis on side shoots, and I'm getting probably 6 to 8 portions a week of just broccoli off the side shoots, so I'm pleasantly surprised. It's quite nice. I left this one too long, and it's going to seed, and from what I've read, if you're going to try to save some seeds, you need another plant to pollinate. They're not self-pollinating. So I'm going to let one of these go to seed and then hand pollinate them, and see what I get. I might leave the lid open and let the pollinators at it, but I might also decide to hand seed. I'm not certain yet. The cabbage moths, which I'm overly concerned about, they can decimate your crop, so I'm doing some research on that. But here's my broccoli. It's starting to get some heads. I think you might be able to see that one down there. Yeah, that was nice and tight. That's encouraging. Some of them are rather loose. if you gotta touch them, they don't really have. So I'm trying to keep them well watered and cool in this heat. Finally, the lettuce. So we've harvested all but one now, and I've got more seeds planted. You can see some coming up, and these are romaine. So hopefully in a few weeks, I'll have romaine. I have a low tolerance for weeds. So let's just take care of these while I'm here. And that's it. See you in a couple weeks.